Everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday Dharma sit together with Caverly Morgan. My name is Amy Jacob, for those who weren't here yesterday, and I'm one of the co-founders along with Martin Aylward of Sangha Live. Can I just ask if people can hear me okay in the chat, if you wouldn't mind just posting a yes in there, make sure my microphone is on. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. So I will turn it over to Caverly in just a moment, but just wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. So many of you have been joining these daily sessions from the beginning of last week, which is when we started this series. So welcome to all of you who have been with us regularly, and a warm welcome to those of you who are just joining us for the first time. I wanted to make a little announcement about the platform. Last week we were using our original platform, which is called Crowdcast, which is embedded within the Sangha Live site. And we thought we'd try an experiment this week, switching over to Zoom. There are a lot of advantages to Zoom we wanted to take advantage of, one being the ability to see each other in the Sangha. That provides a stronger kind of feeling of connection. However, there are some disadvantages as well, and we're thinking that the best option for moving forward is actually going to go back to using Crowdcast. It's just a much easier platform to access and to get into and just have the video show up straight away. So we'll be sending out an email after this session, letting you know the link. You'll all be registered already in the Crowdcast platform, so no registration hassles at all with that. And you'll receive a reminder email 10 minutes before each session with a link that will just sign you right into the platform. So hopefully that'll make it much easier for everyone moving forward to actually get in and access it. We're also going to be making the recordings available in a much more accessible place on the website, and we'll be sending the link out to that recording page after this session as well. So everything will be in that email that I send out in just a moment. One other thing I wanted to mention before turning it over to Caverly is just to remind people and to let people know who may be here the first time, is that we're offering these sessions very freely really from our hearts. It's been a real passion project for us to be able to offer support, especially in these times of such deep uncertainty in the world right now. And it's been so nourishing for us to have the warmth and just the gratitude pouring back to us for offering these sessions. So we very freely offer these and hope that you benefit from them as much as you can. And in exchange, we would love to request, if you can, and I know it's not possible for everyone, if you can, please consider donating so that it supports the staff that's supporting the platform. It also goes to benefit the organizational costs as well as the teacher. So let me just put in a link to where you can donate into the chat. And I thank you deeply in advance for all of your support so far and your support going forward. So I will bring Caverly on in just a moment. For those of you who aren't familiar with Caverly, I just wanted to mention that she's been a regular teacher on our Sunday Insight classes, our Sunday Sangha, and recordings of all of her past Sunday classes are available in our Dharma library. So if you just go to sangha.live and click on Dharma library at the top, you'll be able to access all of those recordings from her. She's also got a couple of courses available on the website as well. And she's been one of our most beloved and been a support of our platform from the very beginning, and we're really pleased to have her here. And she can tell you a little bit more about some of the initiatives that she's involved with. So let me unmute Caverly and invite her to take over the session. Thanks so much, Caverly, for being with us. I'll turn it over to you.
Jake, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'd love to hear if folks can hear me okay as well. So just give me a little yes if you can. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, friends. So yeah, Jake, I do want to just acknowledge that folks, they're working their butts off right now. I happened to hear that folks yesterday, the staff were fielding emails about how to support people with the platform, with registering. Martin's offering many of these. I just can't encourage you enough to support this fantastic platform. So thanks again, Jake, for putting that link there for everyone. One of the reasons I think it's such a fantastic platform, and I'm glad we're going back to Crowdcast, is I think Crowdcast is more user-friendly in a lot of ways. And as you've seen, many Dharma teachers are looking at, how do we get these things online? How do we get these teachings online right now? And I think I'm talking with many colleagues who are struggling to navigate how to make that work. And what a gift that Sangha Live had already worked out so many kinks for us. So anyway, big shout out to this platform. This morning, and actually before I dive in case there's anyone who's new to me, I want to just say a couple things about me. As you heard, I love working on this platform. I live in Portland, Oregon. I am the founder and head of practice with Presence Collective. If anyone's interested, my website is caverlymorgan.org. So I'll let you read more about my history if that's interesting to you. I'm also the founding guiding teacher, head of practice with Peace in Schools. That's peaceinschools.org if that's interesting to you. But don't look at it during the meditation. All right, friends, I'd love to have us go straight into the teachings for today. I loved being here yesterday. If you weren't here yesterday, we sat together, we had a lovely discussion after the sit. And I would like to focus this morning. I was sitting yesterday with some of the things that came up in the call. I'd like to focus today on the value of directing the attention. I'm very grateful that Shambhala has asked me to write a book. I haven't gotten to the signed contract stage yet. It turns out, if any authors are on the call, putting a book proposal together is a bit more work than I might have realized. So I'm in that process, but I did start writing the chapter about directing the attention just recently. And one of the things that I was speaking about is the importance of beginning by seeing where our attention habitually goes. Where is our attention, if we're not paying attention, just conditioned to land? How does it bounce from thing to thing to thing? What does it land on? And I thought this would be a very good time to bring attention before we meditate to what has your attention habitually been landing on during this time. It's been a big time for all of us. If you could just write in the chat box, where do you see in the last few days, or what themes have come up? Reading news about coronavirus, teaching. Where has your attention habitually been landing? Things that are not possible anymore, changes, guilt. How a little shout out if you've thought, how am I going to make money? Right, we're together in this. Fear about getting the virus. How could I have better protected loved ones, my dog? Uncertainty, emotions and relationships, kind neighbors, news, planning, supporting others, outside. Beautiful. Yeah. So a lot of themes here. Family safety, concern about friends, balancing how to help others and be safe, climate. Thank you. So I'm going to guide the beginning of this meditation and then we'll move into silence. And again, I'd like to focus on how the attention moves and where it habitually lands. Something I find myself saying a lot is what we are unconscious to silently governs us. So if I'm not conscious of how the attention moves, where it habitually lands, for example, if it continually is going to my concerns. I just want to read out loud that we have someone on this call whose 38-year-old nephew has died from the virus. The biggest challenge is not being able to be with my sister now. Thank you for sharing that with us. You are in community and supported by people who care. Thank you for sharing that. So it's important to acknowledge that where our attention lands isn't bad or wrong. If my attention's consistently going to how can I support my sister, that's a valid place for my attention to land. What we're going to be looking at today is process and intention around attention. So please come into the position that works best for you for this meditation. Let's begin as we did yesterday by taking 3 of the longest and deepest inhalations and exhalations we've taken yet today. Do a brief scan with your attention through the body. Without force or strain, invite softening. A softening of the feet and lower legs. A softening of the knees and upper legs, a softening of your seat, of your abdomen. Releasing and quieting in the belly. Releasing of the rib cage. A soft releasing and opening in the spine. Just allowing the shoulder blades to fall down the back. Collarbones widening, opening outward. Upper arms, elbows, lower arms and hands opening, softening. Neck releasing. Head opening, spacious, floating. Rather than weight on top of the spine. Floating on top of the spine. So now without judgment, just notice as we directed the attention together through the body. If your attention strayed from that activity, where did it go? Just notice with no judgment. Give it a simple label, like worry or regret, concern about my family, safety. Wondering how to help others. Just notice where the attention went. And if the attention stayed with moving through the body in that way, didn't stray at all, just notice that. This isn't about right or wrong. It's about inquiry. Just imagine a flashlight for a moment. The beam of light is your attention. So consider for a moment how this beam of light, let's say this is a automated flashlight. It bounces habitually from, or in an automated way, from thing to thing to thing. So first notice that there's a certain experience that comes from the neutrality of the light landing on a chair, a table. Now consider for a moment how much your experience shifts should the attention fall upon thoughts about fear of your children being safe, concern for your own health, regret. Notice how impacted the quality of your life is based on where you've placed your attention. And practice lovingly with great kindness, yet also a touch of vigilance. Draw this attention back to presence. Not a limited definition of the present moment that excludes all of these other things, but presence, the presence that allows. That's open and infinite and expansive. What is this? What is the nature of this vigilance? It's gentle and again soft. It's the simple attention. On not allowing unnecessary thoughts to find parking places in your mind. Not because you've pushed them away, but because you haven't fed them. As these thoughts aren't fed, they will naturally pass through. You, again and again, returning to presence. You again and again, resting as presence. Resting in the recognition that for this moment, there's no need for the attention to be anywhere other than here. All else is freed to simply do what it does. You are freed to simply be as you are. To rest in the recognition that right now there's nothing that you need to change or fix or do. That you can instead rest in presence as presence. Thank you, friends. Human friends and animal friends. What a treat to see some animals, some faces, cats, and dogs joining us in this field of presence. So again, please, Jake, if you wouldn't mind just putting that link for support, just another loving touch, another loving reminder to support this platform during this time of interconnection. We really need each other, and this platform needs our support. So I would love to hear what you're present to about your attention or in general. I'm going to go open up this chat spot here so that I can see if anyone's raising their hand. So please, I invite you to come on screen. I'd love to have an exchange with you if you'd enjoy asking a question. Susan, let's see, lower hand and unmute. I think I have Susan now unmuted. It's a phone number that I just unmuted, 150363. If that person could say hello. All right. I'm going to mute that person again. So there's someone whose name's not popping up. It's just a phone number. So I'm going to mute that person and then try again. And I did see Susan, but it's gone down in the scroll. So let me see if I can find you, Susan. I do see that you have a question. As you heard, this will be easier tomorrow because we'll go back to Crowdcast. Jake, maybe you can unmute Susan. I'm just not seeing Susan's. Oh, maybe I can do it by hovering over your screen here, Susan. Hang on. No, it looks like I can't. All right, we're working on it.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Okay, great, Susan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you so much, Susan. Hi.
Hi. So I was here yesterday and I shared an experience, what I sensed. I do have a question about my meditation practice. So I've been meditating for a little while, even though I sense until I've done it for about 20 years. Maybe I don't even say that. You know, it's kind of like people go, "You meditate?" And I go, "Yeah, I do." But I have this question about my practice usually is in the morning, and I usually will do guided meditation because I'm new at meditation. And a lot of times I do it laying down, and I find this freedom for me to be with myself and to love myself radically because I can relax in that position. and really feel myself, and let even my emotions, whatever comes up, to give myself permission to let that come up, and then it can leave. And so even today, when you said what word comes up for you, mine was feelings. Like I noticed I almost felt bipolar because I cried, and then I also felt this silliness, like with my head kind of floating. And so my question is there a better position for meditating? Because I've been told, actually instructed at one place, like I couldn't lay down, like it wasn't allowed, like I had to sit. And I said, but this is my normal, this is how I start my morning. And they were like, no, you must sit. And I'm like, and I honored that. But I sense for me, my better position to meditate is laying down. And I just wondered if you had any comment about that.
Sure, absolutely. To me, the most important thing in practice is that we're paying attention. And paying attention means, in this case, the way I'm referring to paying attention in this case is paying attention to process. So if, for example, I have a story that I can only meditate lying down, I might recognize that there's limitation in place. There's a way in which I've relegated my experience. I've put it in a box that it need not be in. In my experience, the same thing might be true about a specific posture. I certainly don't want to get so attached to the posture that if I have some kind of accident and I'm laid up, or perhaps I'm sick and I'm in a hospital bed, I want to know that I've unhooked my experience of meditation from being inside the limitation of only a specific posture. But the value of paying attention is that there's much to be seen about all of it. So there's, I brought in the word vigilance today, having a soft vigilance about thought form. And the reason I say soft is, as many people on this call know, I trained in a silent Zen Buddhist monastery for 8 years. Certainly we weren't lying down during sitting meditation. And I know very intimately the experience of discipline and vigilance. And for many years, that there wasn't a softness at all to that experience for me. And I can now look back and see that I got quite attached to being in relationship with myself in a way that actually carried quite a bit of harshness. And that's not required. It was an important experience that I went through. I learned a lot about what that kind of relationship with myself resulted in. But it's not, I can look back and see now that it wasn't required. So one benefit, so look at the benefits of anything that you do. Let your attention be on, does this lead towards suffering? Does this lead away from suffering? It's always going to be in the process and not in the content. There is no right anything. And if you're practicing a certain form, like if I'm practicing bowing every time I walk in a meditation hall, that's revealing if one morning I walk in and I completely forget to do it. Or if I've made a commitment to have a seated meditation practice, and then one morning I just wake up and fall for the voice that says, oh, you could really just, meditation in your lazy boy with a cocktail would be just as good. Or perhaps even a little TV on in the background. I mean, life has distractions. It'll be all about practicing with distractions, right? So that's where this vigilance comes in, right? So I would encourage you to shake things up, make a commitment for 1 week, practice seated meditation. You're sitting in the seat of dignity. You're sitting in the recognition of yourself as the Buddha. So that's not a sloppy sitting. Practice with everything that arises, all the thought forms that arise. You're coming back to this seat of dignity. That's one of the beautiful things about Zen, is this emphasis on enlightenment is this. It's this. It's not a practice for something else. Zazen, sitting, just sitting, is it. The next week, practice lying down. How does the attention shift if you're lying down? Give yourself the freedom to recognize that it's all about attention. It's not about finding the perfect form. Does that feel useful, Susan? Great, thank you for that good question. I am going to look for other questions. And while I'm, okay, Chris, great. I'm going to lower your hand, Chris, and I'm going to unmute. Chris, if you could start talking, then I think I'll find your screen. I apologize for the technical difficulties this morning, friends. I'm not sure. I unmuted Chris, but I'm not hearing Chris now. All right. I don't know, Jake, if there's, oh, okay, so I just got a message. I may not have unmuted Chris. So I'm going to scroll. Chris, if you would raise your hand again. Maybe I just lowered your hand, but I didn't unmute you. I'm going to scroll through and look for you again. Okay. Scrolling. I see Charlie. I see Cheryl. I'm glad. These, okay, Chris, I have found you. Isn't it funny? They take you out of alphabetical order. Lower hand and unmute. Chris, tell me anything, something. I hear some noise. It's promising, Chris. Where are you? Oh, goodness. Okay, Chris, I see you now.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Here we are.
Thank you. Again, thanks for your patience, y'all.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, it's so delightful to be with you yesterday and today. I'm in Portland too. So
oh, wonderful.
I feel so happy to know you are here, right here. So thank you.
Lovely. Thank you.
My question from today is, when during the meditation and on both days, you use the term presence, which I really love. Could you just define that a little more? I appreciated what you said today about presence is bigger than the present moment, but could you just say more about your own definition or interpretation of that word presence?
Yes, thank you. It does seem important clarification. What I've noticed in my own practice and in teaching is that often we think of the present moment as existing within time. So the present moment's here. I can't see myself anymore, but I can see you, but I believe you can see my hands, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So the present moment exists here. The past, or let's see, maybe the past is here and then the future's here. So time becomes linear and I become that which is moving through a line of time. That's how I see myself to be. That's how I know myself in a sense. So what I'm doing in meditation is I, separate from life, we could say, and directing my attention to the present moment, but it's a small point on a long line of time. And there's a way in which, if that's my view, then I'm focusing the attention on the present moment, and past and future become problems of sorts. They become something to, they're in a sense in opposition to the present moment. And again, I think the important thing to underline about this is the present moment becomes a small, limited place to stand. What I like about the word presence, which for this meditation, I could have exchanged with the word awareness. it, for me, implies a type of openness, infinite, expanded, pure, it points to pure consciousness, out of which the construction of time can arise.
Mm.
So it's time is simply one other object arising in a field of presence, a field of knowing, a field of awareness. So to me, that recognition shifts our relationship with thought forms. Again, if now is one point on a line rather than the now that encompasses all of it, the ever-present now, the infinite now, things shift.
Mm-hmm.
In my experience, reality becomes revealed rather than us feeding our habit, which is already in place, for the attention to move from thing to thing to thing. And now it's just moving, instead of the past, to this one little place that I call the present moment, in time, bound.
Yeah, that's very helpful. And I could see from that explanation how, going back to what you said a moment ago about having more softness, a soft vigilance, that when we say bring attention back to the present moment, you're right, that could bring up a lot of judgment and a lot of frustration, feeling like, well, I can't get right there because I'm over here. But what you're describing is much more, like you said, an openness, a willingness and allowingness to have it all be there. Yeah, very good. Thank you so much. That was very helpful.
Thank you. It's a really, really wonderful question, Chris. Thank you so much. All right, great. I see that some friends need to hop off to work. I understand. Thank you for joining us. We actually just have 2 more minutes, but I'd love to hear from one more person if one more person would appreciate sharing. I also see that a question came in about whether this video will be posted on the site. And I do, thanks for that question. I do recall Jake mentioning that these videos will be made available later. So thank you for that question. And thank you, Allison, for your comment to all of us. Thank you for being here together, and that you hope this continues through next week. I do as well. So I want to honor your time. We do just have 1 minute left. Jake, I'll invite you to just put the donation link in the sidebar again. Thank you so much. And yes, thank you, all of you, for showing up to be together in this way during this time. As I mentioned, I think it's extremely important that, especially during this time, we're supporting each other, that we're showing up to be with that which is most authentic together as a community. So thank you so much for joining, and a special shout out to Lisa Roby and Brian Tan and some folks that I've known for years and are far flung. It's lovely to have a platform in which you can show up and I get to see you again. So to all of you, thank you so very much. To those that I'm just meeting for the first time, hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bring your cats, bring your dogs. Such a wonderful treat. John Wilson, I got to look at your cat's nose for much of the meditation. Every time I glanced up, I got to see the cat's nose. It's quite endearing. So I love us all being together. Thank you. All right.